Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Wednesday, December the 28th. We got a decent sized Wednesday slate, little 8-gamer for today. So, as always guys, we're going to go game by game, give a quick game by game breakdown of this 8-game slate, what I do like, taking a first look on Tuesday night. Before we do get started with the breakdown though, as always, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, make sure you hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you're new to the channel, check out PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks. Use my promo code Noah. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And if you've never heard about PrizePicks, they're very simple, easy site to use. It's different than DraftKings, DFS, and then FanDuel and Yahoo, those sites. You're not building out a lineup. You're not competing against other players. It's just you versus their projections. So they have projections posted for some players right now for some of these Bucks and Bulls guys. You can see what their projections are. If you have a lean one way or the other, you just take more or less. If you think they go over or under, you have to make at least 2 picks. You can make up to 6 picks, and you can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. So give them a try, guys. Sign up with promo code Noah, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. Let's go ahead and talk about this Wednesday slate. 8-gamer. We'll start off with the first game of the night, the Suns and the Wizards. So we got a good amount of teams on back-to-backs today. The Suns and the Wizards are both on a back-to-back here. So for Phoenix, Devin Booker did not play on Tuesday. We don't really have any update on his status yet for Wednesday's game. Given it's a back-to-back, I assume Booker probably sits again. I will say that if Booker plays, I'm really not interested in much from Phoenix. Nothing really stands out from the Suns today if Booker is in. If Booker is out, then we can look to a guy like Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul had a really bad game Tuesday without Booker, didn't play very well. At 8,300, I still think Paul is a viable option here if Booker were to be ruled out. I think DeAndre Ayton at 7,400 is okay, but I'm not super interested. Mikal Bridges, I'll probably pass on. Torrey Craig has surprisingly done really well in the games without Devin Booker this season. I know he's had a lot of good games when Booker's been out, and I think he had a pretty good game again on Tuesday. So Torrey Craig for value at 5,100, I don't mind going to. And then we did actually see Jock Landale start for Phoenix in place of Devin Booker. That kind of went big. That could have been matchup based, so I don't think it's a guarantee they run that same starting lineup today. But if Jock Landale were to start again, he's pretty cheap, 4K, and I think he did do pretty well as a starter. He had a pretty decent game, so he would be in play for value. I think if they go with a different guy like Damian Lee could be in play for value as well. Right now, don't love much on Phoenix, but if Devin Booker does sit again, I think the guys we talked about, would be playable there. And then on the other side with the Wizards, not really interested in many Wizards today. Porzingis, Kuzma, Beal, at their price tags, none of them really stand out as great options here. It's also not the best matchup against Phoenix either. So I don't love much on Washington today. Denny Avdia, I'll pass on. The rest of the Wizards, I'm pretty much off of. It's not that appealing of a spot. I know Daniel Gafford, I think, did start on Tuesday. That might have been matchup based, just having him out there. They wanted to start him alongside, have him start alongside Porzingis going up against Joel Embiid. Does Gafford start again? Maybe. Even if he starts again, I wouldn't be super interested just because when he's playing with Porzingis, his point per minute rates are not as good when he's the clear starting center and the biggest guy on the floor. So I'm not super interested in Gafford even if he starts again. I really don't like much in this game. It's not one that I'm very excited about. So we can go ahead and move on to the next one, Orlando and Detroit. So Orlando, they're another team on a back-to-back today. Paolo Banchero at 8,100. We saw Paolo Banchero, man. He had a really terrible game Tuesday. He was in foul trouble, and it was a really good spot against the Lakers. I thought Banchero was set up to do pretty well Tuesday, but he really, really struggled. It's a good matchup here today against Detroit. I think especially after he busted on Tuesday, a lot of people are probably going to just avoid Banchero here. But Detroit's been one of the worst defensive teams in the league this season. Banchero put up 47.8 DraftKings points against them earlier this year in 35 minutes. This is a game that should be competitive, so we should see Banchero play 35, 36 minutes if he's not in foul trouble. If I had to play anyone on Orlando, I think he would be my favorite play. Other than that, I think the other guy you can maybe go to would be Markelle Fultz. His production's kind of been all over the place this season, but we have seen in the games where he does play 33, 34 minutes, he can produce, and it's a good matchup too. Detroit, again, they're a bad defensive team. I know they've given up a lot of fancy points to point guards this year. So Fultz, Banchero, the two guys I'm interested in from Orlando. I don't love much else though on this team. And then on the other side with Detroit, I'm not super interested in many Detroit guys here. Bojan at 6,200 feels priced about right. I think it's a solid matchup, but on an 8-game slate, man, I really just don't want to be rostering many Pistons. This is a team that I've just been trying to avoid when I can, and I think on this slate, with so many other games, I'm not really looking to roster many Pistons today. I don't think so. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Talk about the Lakers and the Heat. So we did get word that LeBron is uncertain to play today. It's the second night of a back-to-back. I don't think LeBron has played on many back-to-backs this season, so pretty good chance he doesn't play here. And if LeBron doesn't play, obviously without Anthony Davis as well, we can expect a really, really big role for Russell Westbrook. Now, the matchup against Miami is not very good, but Westbrook should be very, very productive in the minutes he gets without, if LeBron were to sit here. I know Westbrook's had some, pretty bad games this season, even when LeBron's been out, but I would be interested in him at 7,500 if LeBron sits. There obviously would be some blowout risk here, but if this game does stay competitive, you would think Westbrook would be a big reason why. It's a really tough matchup for Thomas Bryant going up against Bam. That's assuming Bam plays. Bam is questionable. If Bam were to get ruled out, I would definitely feel a lot better about Thomas Bryant. So, kind of a wait and see there. The rest of the Lakers, though, value-wise, I think if LeBron sits, Dennis Schroeder looks like a pretty decent value play. We've seen him have some good games, in the minutes he's gotten without LeBron and without Anthony Davis. I know one of these games recently, LeBron and AD were out. I can't remember which game it was. I think it was this Phoenix game, but I think Russell Westbrook was out that game too. Schroeder had a really good game. I think Schroeder's a guy that can definitely soak up usage, and obviously there's going to be a lot of usage available if LeBron is, indeed sitting today. So, Schroeder and Westbrook I think are my two favorite plays from the Lakers. Lonnie Walker, Austin Reeves, Patrick Beverley, these guys are just dart throws, I think. Walker at 5,200, I don't mind. I just wish he was a little bit cheaper. I definitely would prefer Schroeder straight up there. And yeah, that's probably it for the Lakers. And then on the other side, looking at Miami, so some question marks once again for Miami. We saw last game Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo were both out last game, and they're both listed as questionable for today. Given the Lakers are probably going to sit LeBron, maybe Miami decides to sit their guys as well. But I think for now we just kind of have to assume that Bam and Butler are playing. And if Bam and Butler are playing, I don't love much on Miami because obviously, Hero's been priced up a lot. Lowry got priced up a little bit. Those guys wouldn't look very appealing if Butler and Bam are in. Butler at 9,400 is okay, but at this price tag, I don't think he's a standout play today. I think it's a decent matchup for Bam, but at 8,700, he feels priced about right as well. So I'm not super interested in many Miami guys today if Butler and Bam are playing. If they get ruled out, then that obviously makes things different. Now, Tyler Hero is really expensive at 9,300, so even if those guys are out, I wouldn't be forcing Tyler Hero into my lineups. I think it's a really good matchup, but the price tag is definitely right here on Tyler Hero. I think Kyle Lowry is the guy that would look really appealing. He's only 6,900. He's much cheaper than Hero. Played 34 minutes last game, was really productive. We could expect his production to be really good if Bam and Butler were to sit. So I'd have a lot of interest in Lowry in that scenario. Victor Oladipo came off the bench last game, only played 19 minutes. Hard to feel super good about him, even if those guys are out. His minutes have just kind of been tough to predict. Caleb Martin, I believe, is probable, so he's expected to play. He started, played 28 minutes, was not super productive, but I think at 5,300, Caleb Martin would be an okay value. Max Strus had a decent game in somewhat limited minutes. He only played 25 minutes, but he did put up 25 DraftKings points, shot the ball pretty well. He would be in play. I assume he would start as well. And then without Bam last game, we did see them start Nikola Jovic at center. I'm guessing they would do that again, and Jovic is cheap. He's 3,800. Now, he got into some foul trouble, only played 19 minutes. We saw Orlando Robinson play really, really well off the bench. Maybe they would change up the starting lineup today. Maybe they would start Robinson instead of Jovic. So, in a scenario where Bam gets ruled out and then Robinson starts, I think Robinson would be a really good value. He's been a good per-minute producer this season, and obviously the minutes should be good if he is starting. And obviously the matchup's pretty solid as well. So there's definitely going to be some guys to like on Miami if Butler and Bam sit. If they play, I really don't like much here. So that'll do it for that game. Let's move on to the next one, Brooklyn and Atlanta. So we'll start off with Atlanta. There's also some injury news to monitor on this side. So Trae Young got injured in Tuesday's game, went to the locker room. It was an ankle injury. He didn't return, but it was looking like a blowout, so I don't think there was any reason to bring him back anyway. We got a report that he is hopeful to play for this game, so I think for now we just kind of have to assume that Trae is going to play. If Trae does play at 9,900, I don't have an issue going to him on this slate. I don't think he's a standout pay-up option, but the matchup's fine. This should be a relatively fast-paced, high-scoring game against the Nets. So don't mind Trae. DeJounte's fine as well. But, DeJounte, he's a guy that I just can't get right this season. I played him in my lineup on Tuesday, and he was terrible. I mean, it was such a good matchup against Indiana. Really like that spot for DeJounte, and he had a really bad game. Obviously, if Trey were to somehow get ruled out, DeJounte would be like a slam dunk. But in a scenario where Trey plays, I think DeJounte is like an okay option, but I probably won't be going there. And then looking at the bigs, I do want to talk about them. So Clint Capella is, I think, going to be out for a few games. He got ruled out for Tuesday's game. We'll have to see if he plays here. I'm assuming he's going to be out again, given it's a back-to-back. So like if Clint Capella is out again, that should definitely benefit John Collins and Onyeka Okongwu. Collins had a really, really good game Tuesday, with Capella out, and I like this matchup for him against Brooklyn. I think this is a spot where Collins can have some success. He's been pretty productive in the minutes that he's played without Capella this season, and we did see them play John Collins at the 5 in Tuesday's game. Now, Onyeka Okongwu got into some early foul trouble, so that might have been the reason they elected to do that. But even when Okongwu got in foul trouble, they didn't bring in like another big. They brought in a small guy. Like I think AJ Griffin soaked up some minutes after Okongwu got ruled out. So we might see them play Collins at center again here. If Capella's out. So at 5,300, I really like John Collins today. I think Okongwu at 5,200. Assuming he's not in foul trouble again, he would probably play big minutes if Capella got ruled out. I think both those Atlanta bigs would look really good here, and those would probably be my two favorite plays on Atlanta. I'm not super interested in anything else though on the Hawks side. And then looking at Brooklyn, you got KD at 10,200. You got Kyrie at 8,400. Look, I'd never have an issue going to KD or Kyrie. I think given the savings, I would probably prefer Kyrie over KD today. I think the matchup for KD is solid though. Like when you look at this Brooklyn or this Atlanta team, DeAndre Hunter would probably be the guy that would guard Kevin Durant, but DeAndre Hunter didn't play Tuesday. So like if DeAndre Hunter's out, it'll probably be like, I don't know, maybe DeJounte guards KD. Maybe they put Bogdan on him or John Collins. I think it's a good matchup for KD, though. The price tag feels about right at 10,200, but he is definitely a viable option. Same could be said for Kyrie. I'm not super interested in many other Brooklyn guys, though. Ben Simmons, I know, has had some decent games lately. His minutes have also been trending back up. I don't mind going there at 6,200, especially now that he's starting to get decent minutes, 28 and 34 minutes the last two games. He's a playable option. Claxton, though, probably going to pass on. Royce O'Neal, probably going to pass on. Now, we did see TJ Warren have a really big game last game. Joe Harris is once again out, and I think Seth Curry is probable. So, like, with Seth Curry back, I don't think I'd be super excited to go to TJ Warren, but he played 27 minutes last game, was really productive. His per minute production has been pretty good as of late, and I think at least with Joe Harris out, we can expect him to play like 23, 24 minutes. Don't know if he gets 27 minutes, but I think low 20s is likely. I have a feeling there's going to be better value available today, but if you want to go to TJ Warren for value, I don't hate it. I think he is playable. Just with Curry back, I would temper expectations a little bit. But that'll do it for this game. I think we can go in and move on to the next one. So Milwaukee and Chicago. We'll start off on the Milwaukee side. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo at 11,500. Drew Holiday's coming in at 8,200. Drew is probable for today, so he's expected to play. Giannis at this price tag, I have some interest in. Giannis has not been great the last few games, but against Boston, kind of a tough matchup against Brooklyn. It was surprising to see Giannis struggle as much as he did against Brooklyn. I think this matchup against Chicago is definitely favorable. I don't think the Bulls really have anyone to slow down Giannis here. And with the price tag dropping to 11.5, that definitely makes Giannis look a lot more appealing. So I'm for sure gonna have some interest in Giannis today. It'll all depend on what kind of value we get on the slate. If it's if there's no value, it's going to be tough to pay up for Giannis. But if value does open up, I think Giannis is definitely a pay up option I like quite a bit on the slate. Drew at 8,200 though feels priced about right. I'm not as interested in him. And the rest of Milwaukee guys, I don't love. I do want to mention that Pat Connaughton did start their last game on Christmas Day. He played 30 minutes as well. If he were to start again, I think he would be my second favorite play on Milwaukee behind Giannis. He did start in place of Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton's out once again. We've seen them change up their starting lineup a lot this season. Like they started Beauchamp one game. I think they've been starting Javon Carter too. But assuming it's Connaughton that gets the start here, 4K, he will be in play for value. I did want to mention him as a cheap option. But then on the Chicago side, don't really like much on the Bulls here. It's not the best matchup against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's been a strong defensive team this season. 8,900 for DeRozan feels about right, especially for this tough matchup. Same could be said for Levine and Vooch. I think the one guy that I maybe would consider on the Bulls would be Ayo, just because he's going to play a lot of minutes. Now, he only played 23 minutes last game, but I think he might have gotten into some foul trouble. Alex Caruso's been out the last few games, and Alex Caruso's once again questionable. So if Caruso does miss, I don't mind going to Ayo at 4,100. Like, I wouldn't be running to roster him. He would not be my favorite value, but I think he would at least be a playable option. But the Bulls today are not that appealing of a team. I don't love this spot against Milwaukee. The price tags on all these guys feel about right. Don't see much I like on this Chicago team. So let's move on to the next game, Minnesota and New Orleans. So for Minnesota today, still no Karl-Anthony Towns. We got Anthony Edwards coming in at 9,500. Once again, this feels like an appropriate price tag for Anthony Edwards. At this salary, you're gonna want him to put up like at least 50, 55 DK points. He definitely has that upside in him. I think this matchup against the Pelicans is fine. Herb Jones, I know, was out last game, and I think he's questionable for today. Even if Herb Jones plays, like, he's not been the same like elite shutdown defender this season. But Edwards on this slate, I'm not super interested in. D'Angelo Russell at 7,600 feels priced about right. Rudy Gobert feels cheap. He's been getting decent minutes without Towns. He's been playing relatively well as of late too. Last two games have been disappointing, but he had a big game against Dallas. He had a big game against Portland. I think this matchup against the Pelicans is fine for Gobert. So if I had to play anyone on Minnesota, I think Gobert would be my favorite play. But I'm not super interested in many Timberwolves today. And then on the other side with the Pelicans, Zion, I believe, is probable. So Zion is expected back for this game. With Zion back, that pretty much takes me out of, takes me off of guys like CJ McCollum, J-Val, really all the Pelicans, Najee Marshall, Herb Jones, Murphy. None of these guys look that appealing with Zion back. Obviously, Marshall's probably going to go back to the bench. Murphy, don't expect his production to be as good. Herb Jones, not a guy that I really look to target anyways. So I'm not super interested in the Pelicans here. Zion, I think, would be the one guy I would consider. 10,100. This price tag feels correct for Zion, but we've seen Zion just be dominant as of late. Now, this is his first game back from like his illness that he got ruled out with. So first game back from illness, you kind of have to worry about, is he going to be up to shape? Is he going to be in good condition? They sat him out for conditioning reasons, so I'm guessing, since he had a day of rest, he's good to go for this game. I don't think Zion's like a priority pay-up option today, but I don't mind going there. He'd be the one guy that I think I would be interested in on the Pelicans. Don't love much, though, on this Pelicans team because obviously, all these guys got priced up for when Zion was out. So now that Zion's back, really none of them look that great. So that'll do it for that game. We got, two more to go over. We got two late-night games, the Jazz and the Warriors. So the Warriors, they're another team on a back-to-back today. Jordan Poole's coming in at 8,600. I think Poole is a fine option today. I don't love the price tag. I wish he was a little bit cheaper, but obviously, without Steph and without Andrew Wiggins, we can expect Poole to have a really big workload, play big minutes, have really good usage. Same could be said for Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is 7,100. I don't mind going to either. I think given the savings, I would prefer Klay over Poole if I had to choose one of the two there. And then Dante DiVincenzo has been playing pretty well as a starter. His price tag at 6,400 does feel about right, but he's going to get good minutes. With Steph and Wiggins out, he's playable. Draymond at 6K feels priced about right, but we've seen Draymond have some good games lately. He did have a really big game against Memphis on Christmas Day. I've been saying it recently, like Draymond, in order for him to have a really big game, he's going to have to get the rebounds and the assists because he doesn't really shoot the ball much at all. He's just not looking to score. But he can have games where he does get double-digit rebounds, double-digit assists. He can have games where he gets 2 or 3 blocks, 2 or 3 steals. At 6K, he's playable today. I don't love Draymond on the slate, but he's viable. Again, it's a back-to-back, so we're going to have to watch the injury report here. Some of these guys, like Draymond maybe gets rested. I would assume Klay probably sits. Like Klay, I don't think Klay's played on a back. I forgot about that. I don't even think Klay's played on a back-to-back this season. So, Klay probably is going to be out today. So, yeah, with Klay probably sitting on the back-to-back, obviously Poole, DiVincenzo are going to look even more appealing. There's going to be some value from the Warriors most likely. I don't know who would start in place of Klay. It could be Kuminga. It could be Moses Moody. Whoever gets the start there is definitely going to be in play for value. You always, with the Warriors, man, when they're on a back-to-back, they'll just sit guys out of nowhere. So, we're going to have to watch some injuries here. I think Klay's probably going to be out. Didn't even think about that. He's probably sitting. Draymond, I think we have to assume will play, but we've seen Draymond sit on back-to-backs this season. There's going to be value, though, here with Klay probably out. I think either Kuminga or Moody, most likely candidates to start. Whoever gets the start there is going to be a viable, cheap option. And then on the other side with Utah, Lauri Markkanen's been amazing this season, been playing really well. The price tag at 8,300 does feel about right, though. I think this matchup's fine for Markkanen. The Warriors do play at a really fast pace, so it should be a relatively fast-paced, high-scoring game. But 8,300, again, that feels like a price tag that is right for Markkanen. Jordan Clarkson at 6,800 is fine, but don't love him at that salary. Kelly Olynyk, I think, is questionable. Could be back for today. Obviously, if Kelly Olynyk returns, less interest in guys like Vanderbilt, Kessler. Those guys would pretty much be out of play, I think. Mike Conley at 4,900 is really cheap, and he did finally have a good game last game against San Antonio. Conley's been pretty terrible this season. Like, he's not been a guy that I've played much at all in DFS. I don't think I've played him at all this season. But he's super cheap. He finally had a good game. Like, maybe he starts to get going here. I don't really know. But 4,900 for Conley. If he does play like 33, 34 minutes again, I mean, he's a guy that can easily outperform this salary. So as gross as it is, like, honestly, I think probably my favorite play on Utah is Mike Conley, just because he's so cheap, and if he gets his normal minutes, he can definitely, outperform that salary. But that'll do it for that game, I think. So let's go ahead and talk about the last game of the night, Denver and Sacramento. We just saw these teams play on Tuesday. They're going to play again on Wednesday. Domantas Sabonis did not play Wednesday. Also, Aaron Gordon was a late scratch as well, so we're going to have to watch some injuries here. Sabonis, again, did not play Tuesday. They went with Alex Len in the starting lineup. Now, at the time I'm making this video, that game is currently going on, so I don't really know how these guys are doing. Last time I checked, I think Alex Len had 2 points and 3 rebounds. He really wasn't playing much. So it's going to kind of be a wait and see right now. If Sabonis plays, I don't really like much on Sacramento. I think it's a good matchup for De'Aaron Fox, and I did have a lot of interest in Fox on Tuesday's slate, and obviously after Sabonis got ruled out, Fox looked even more appealing. We could expect Fox to take on an even bigger role if Sabonis were to sit again. I think if Sabonis plays, Fox is a solid option, but I definitely have more interest if Sabonis were to get ruled out. The rest of the Sacramento guys like Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Malik Monk, I don't think any of these guys look super, super appealing. And then, again, with the bigs, I mean, if Alex Len starts again, maybe we could go there, but I think, he's not even having that great of a game on Tuesday. He's not really getting many minutes. We saw Rashawn Holmes get a good amount of minutes off the bench, and, he played pretty well at least so far, at the time that I'm making this video. I think it's halftime in that game, and Holmes is having a pretty good game. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see with Sacramento. I don't think I'm going to go to any of the bigs, even if Sabonis gets ruled out, but there will be value to target here if you want to go there. I mean, all these guys are super cheap. Lynn is 3K. Holmes is 3K. There'd be some value worth considering. But on the other side with Denver, so, again, Aaron Gordon was a late scratch on Tuesday. We'll have to see if he plays for this game. Nikola Jokic, I think, looks like a good pay-up option today. Matchup against Sacramento, I think, is good. Whether Sabonis is in or out, I think it's a really good spot for Jokic. The price tag's high, but, I mean, if we can find a way to get him in, I definitely have interest in Jokic today. I think Jamal Murray at 7,200, a solid mid-range play. He would look a little bit better if Aaron Gordon were to sit again. I think the same could be said for Michael Porter Jr. Last time I did check the box score, Porter was having, a really good first half, so maybe no Aaron Gordon is going to be beneficial for Michael Porter Jr. If Aaron Gordon sits again, I would have some interest in MPJ. And then, I do want to mention that Zeke Naji started in place of Aaron Gordon on Tuesday. I couldn't check and see what Zeke Naji was doing. We'll see how many minutes he plays Tuesday. If he plays a lot of minutes, he could definitely be someone worth considering for value if he starts again. But that'll be something we just kind of have to keep an eye on. There's going to be a lot of news to keep an eye on in this game. It's a back-to-back. 2 guys were ruled out Tuesday. We'll have to see if they play Sabonis and Gordon. But yeah, that'll do it, I think, for this Wednesday slate, guys. 8-gamer. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, appreciate you watching. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, go check out PrizePicks, sponsor of the video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks. Use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. But again, good luck on this slate, guys. Thanks for watching the video, supporting the content. As always, appreciate you guys a ton. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.